Hello, welcome to my webinar, How to Land a Scrum Master Job Without Any Technical Experience or Degree. I'm so much excited to see all of you here today. It's my first webinar. So again, super excited to see so many people registered for it, and would like to know where you're from, guys, and why are you interested in my webinar. So please use chat to write down your answers, and meanwhile I will start sharing my screen. Oh, I see Nigeria, Toronto, wonderful. Toronto again, Singapore, fantastic. So guys, let me know if you see my screen, and I see yes or a plus in chat. So let's get started. Let me do the slideshow. Fantastic. So welcome again to How to Land a Scrum Master Job Without Any Technical Experience or a Degree. So my name is Aina Eliav, and I would like to introduce myself first before jumping into the main hard part of this webinar. So many of you connected with me on LinkedIn, and I think you saw my nominees this year. I'm a Woman of Inspiration nominee 2022, and I'm Woman of the Year nominee by DMZ version of 2022. And I'm also top 30 female entrepreneurs to look for in 2021. But I'm showing it to you not to brag or boast how cool I am, definitely not. I'm here to tell you how I got where I am right now, and to make sure that you also can get what I'm having right now, having way less struggles and knowing the shortcuts. So let me move to the next slide. So you know that I am an Agile coach, and this is my main occupation, and that's why I am teaching you about Scrum Master today. One of the main certificates which helped me to get my first step in the industry, in the IT industry, in the project management industry, it's a PMI Project Management Professional Certificate. And if you're thinking about the career of a project manager or an Agile coach, I highly recommend to consider this certificate. And as you can see, I have 10 years of experience as a project manager. So this experience helped me a lot in pivoting my career and to get where I am right now. Another certificate I've got, and I highly recommend to consider, it's PMI Agile Certified Practitioner, or PMI ACP. Now, this one relates specifically to Agile. Well, if you're thinking about project management in general, you can have PNP and PMI ACP nice to have. If you're thinking about Agile career, if you are in Europe, PMI ACP is preferable there. If you are here in Canada or North America, PMI ACP also nice to have, but again, it depends who is hiring you. So for project managers and recruiters here in Canada, they prefer the certificate I'm going to show you on the next slide. But if you ask me personally, and if I need to hire Scrum Masters to my business, I would definitely prefer a PMI ICP. So the next slide and the next certificate I promised you is Professional Scrum Master. Well, if you're here in North America, in Canada, or States, this certificate is a must-have if you want to be a Scrum Master here. So that's why I gained it, even though, again, I still more respect this Agile Certified Practitioner certificate. I also have Discipline Agile Senior Scrum Master. Discipline Agile is kind of a new Agile methodology or a toolkit that focus on decisions, need to consider options available and associated trade-offs. So it's kind of still under the Agile umbrella, but it provides the toolkit. And if you are a new Scrum Master, I recommend you maybe not to go to the certificate, but at least to buy a Discipline Agile a book, so you will have a toolkit and you can know more about agile processes. And the last certificate I wanted to show you, it's from Kanban University. So Agile is like an umbrella, and there are many frameworks under the Agile umbrella, and Kanban is one of them. So Scrum and Kanban is the must-have knowledge if you are considering to pivot your career and become a Scrum Master. Or even if you're still happy about being a project manager, it's good to have some knowledge about Agile, and Scrum and Kanban are the most popular frameworks under the Agile umbrella. So these are about certificates. And let me share a bit of my story, my first steps in Canada. So here, English is not my first language. I speak with an accent. So I'm originally born and raised in Ukraine and moved to Canada 7 years ago. And it was hard to get where I am right now. And I see we have many multicultural people here from different countries. So if you consider moving to Canada or to another country, so just want to prepare you that first couple of years are going to be hard, but if I did it, you also can do it. I'm sure about it. Well, I started as a student and I applied to Simon Fraser University, one of the most famous universities here in Canada, to get Canadian experience, Canadian education, and after that get a work permit. So in addition to my first degree, Master's of Electrical Engineer back from my country, I got a business degree here in Canada. And during my years at university, I didn't spend time just studying. I kind of made this mistake during my first degree, electrical engineering, when I was a young, shy female student, and I just focused on courses. Here, I focused on all extracurricular activities. So I signed up for as many trainings and clubs I could, and one of them was the case competition club, which gave me tremendous experience of pitching ideas and having a business side of experience, collaborating with stakeholders and deliver people harsh decisions and even fight for this decision and win some competitions standing my ground. And the most valuable lesson learned out of this experience was when my team won the second place. I came to the judge and asked, so what was the right decision? Because I still had a mentality back from my country that there is always only one right solution and right decision. And I remembered that judge just looked at me and told, Aina, there is no right or wrong decision. We never know, it's business. It's unpredictable. The only one thing what matters, it's how you articulate and how you stand your ground and how many arguments you have to prove your decision. So that changed my world. And as you see on the picture, we won the second place. We still won, but it was the second place just because the other team arguments were a bit better and a bit more polished than ours. So that was a tremendous experience and very valuable lesson I took further to my career and when I started my business. Well, after that, another valuable experience I got from the university is when I met with the mayor of New Westminster, the city next to Vancouver. So we had an entrepreneurial course at the MBA, and we needed to have an idea for the business and kind of develop a business plan and get a buy-in from a couple of stakeholders. So I decided to aim high, to shoot to the moon and go to the mayor. And being a shy girl, a shy foreigner, again, I didn't even expect that the mayor can agree to meet up with me and even support my idea. but showing you my experience. Never be shy, just try. It's never harm to ask. And even if they said no, or like in my case, the mayor would say no to my experience, to my proposal, what's matter? So no is no. So I wouldn't get mayor as a stakeholder, and that's it. I would find someone else. So never make anything stop you from pursuing your dreams and aiming for more. And after that, I know you can't read, this is written in Russian. I started writing, I started sharing my experience, and I was never good at words, and especially in writing. When I was at school, my mom had to write the essays for me because I had like pure engineering and mathematical brain. But I dared to write. Again, first experience was very hard, but eventually one of the big magazines was interested in my thoughts, so they helped me to write my first article. And then was a point when I started gaining the confidence. So I started writing in Russian, and this article is exactly about the fear to write, and the fear to speak publicly and pursue my dreams. So first I gained some experience in Russian, and now again, you see my LinkedIn profile that I am an international correspondent for Project Management Global magazine, and key writer and sometimes a guest writer for other professional magazines. And sure, this year, 2022, I became a writer for Disruptor. So again, from the shy girl who couldn't put even two words together, I gained confidence in being an international correspondent. And the next thing, what helped me to get my first steps into Canadian experience and Canadian career is a Toastmasters. Well, we had Toastmasters in Ukraine, but unfortunately, I couldn't get much experience there since I got an invitation to Canada, so I needed to move before. I got too much involved into that, but when I moved to Canada, the first thing I do, and I remember that it was my second day in Canada, and I already attended the first club, the first Toastmasters club. And it was extremely hard for me to speak at Toastmasters and to speak in generally publicly. And I know it's hard to say right now because I keep speaking, and now I need to consider time management, especially talking about myself. I see already took 11 minutes, just keep talking about myself. So maybe 2 minutes more, and I am moving to the important part of this webinar, to the Scrum Master skills and Agile topic in general. But I just want to emphasize that Toastmasters helped me to develop the public speaking skills. My first speech was less than 20 seconds. I mean, I was so shy, so I asked to sit down. The next time I had a headache, and I had even like a raise of my temperature the night before the Toastmasters meeting. That's how much I was scared about speaking. But I kept pushing myself, and people who were there, they saw how much I try and how much it's hard to me, and that I can overcome my fear and I can push myself. And people respect that. And even being like an immigrant and have no Canadian experience, some people noticed me and offered to collaborate. First, it was just volunteering experience, and then I got the first job due to the Scrum Master, due to Toastmasters Club. And again, just keep going, and even if you don't feel confident, never let it stop you. Even if you screw up the first time or second time or third time, again, never let it stop you. So let's move on to the next slide, which is the PMI mentorship program. So why I am showing you this slide, when I started working and I got the first couple of months of Canadian experience, it was hard for me to develop learning about different cultures. So, when you communicate with people in the clubs or like outside on the street, people are nice and you feel like welcome to you feel that you are already local and been living here for a while, but when you get to work, it's totally different. People speak fast when they're native speakers, and if you don't get something, it's your problem. They get irritated if you don't understand what they say. And we in Ukraine, we are quite harsh and direct, and here in Canada, people are more like lay down and like slow, and they're very polite. So you need to speak like for like 5 minutes to say something like nice and polite to your opponent, and then provide the feedback. So I didn't know any of this, and definitely it was a hard experience. So I joined a mentorship program and got an amazing mentor who helped me a lot during my first steps in Canada, and then I felt that I need to do the same for the other people when I gain the experience. So here on this picture, I am already a mentor, and after that, I've mentored more than 100 people, more than 100 immigrants, and also some local people, and help them to find the job in Canada and pivot their career. And I like to show you the testimonial briefly from the director of the PMI mentorship program, which how much they were excited having me there, and how fast I grew and developed during the program. So after that, I also kept building my brand and gaining trust. So I started talking publicly, and I discovered projectmanagement.com, the place where experienced project managers and agilists hang out, and it's a tremendous place for the network. And how can you gain trust? How can you prove yourself as a professional? So I started talking, I started providing webinars there, and some of you here know me from projectmanagement.com. So there, the webinars are more like strict, more like get to the topic, no personal stuff, just go and deliver the presentation you promised. So again, highly recommend use this platform to network with professionals, and also to prove yourself as a professional as well. And the last slide before the main part, just wanted to show you how far I went from being a shy girl afraid to speak during the Toastmasters impromptu speech and speaking for less than 20 seconds. And last year, when I delivered a presentation for NASA Space Apps on how to interview for big tech companies. And basically now let's move on to why all of us are here, and talk about 7 reasons how to work in IT. So why IT? Why I believe that IT is a good industry to pivot your career or to start your career working in it. Well, first of all, there is no shortage of IT jobs, and especially during the COVID time when many of my friends were laid off working in other industries. IT industry, yeah, I admit I was also laid off when COVID just hit us, but I got another job just in 1 month. That's because IT was one of the first industries who recovered after that. So IT pays well. There's no shortage of IT's job. You'll always be challenged, so there is never a stagnation, because you always have to learn new processes, face new challenges. There is quite a turnover, but it's fine for IT. If you want to learn, you need to move from one organization to another. So you work with different people who bring different like external knowledge, recommends different tools. So you always be challenged to learning something new. The next one, work-life balance won't be an issue, because in IT, we work from home nowadays, and probably we will have a hybrid way of work in the future. And IT very values their professionals, so they don't want people to burn out. That's why work-life balance is not an issue in most companies in IT. You will get to show off your creative side. Yes, programming, it's always something creative. And if you're in a leadership position like myself, you always need to create some like new tools, new games, new experience with the team. Don't keep people bored, like the opposite, engage them and make sure that they're happy at their workplace. You don't have to be a math wizard. I noticed that many people believe that pivot to tech, you need to know how to code, myself included. I hesitated to pivot to tech for 10 years. Can you imagine 10 years? I've been procrastinating just because I believed, yes, I need to know how to code and I am pretty much mediocre coder, saying nicely about myself. But no, IT also needs leaders and needs great leaders. So if you don't know how to code, but you have soft skills, we just said soft skills are hard skills in business. So you're welcomed to IT. There are not many great leaders. So please welcome. Don't hesitate to apply to any IT leadership position. And with initiative, you will move up the ladder, and we will talk about the career ladder in IT a bit later today. So let's bring some statistics to this webinar. So according to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, the typical American worker changes careers around 12 times before they retire. And I know for like my parents and probably yours as well, it was about company loyalty, and many companies prefer the employees to stay in the companies forever. But now it's 21st century, so the world is changing. And as a business owner, I prefer my employees to change their workplace like once in like 3-5 years, depends on the position. So if it's like a higher position, definitely I would prefer people to stay longer in one place. But if it's, for example, like a junior developer or a Scrum Master, 3 years is more than enough to stay in one place, and then you need to move to another company to gain more experience, to be engaged and not to stagnate with the experience you already gained. So right now we have a statistics that moving and pivoting career 12 times before retire, it's normal in the 21st century. Let's talk a bit about the salary in IT. The average annual earnings of people in computer occupations is about 80,000, even $90,000, nearly 44% higher than the others of occupation. And this is an average. An average means it includes junior positions, it includes rural territories where the salary is lower, and it's annual earnings. So consider insurance, consider bonuses. But if you're a contractor like myself, you charge hourly rate, and trust me, hourly rate is much higher than annual earnings. So some statistics from Glassdoor. So IT project manager earns around $100,000 yearly, so reaching aiming six-figure salary. IT auditor has even more, so IT auditor definitely has the six-figure. Scrum Master is almost $90,000 per year, and yes, I agree, this is kind of an average salary for the Scrum Master. Agile coach, six-figure, 130 yearly, and again, it's an average. So like more experienced enterprise transformation coach, agile coach can get more than this number. And the product owner is again a six-figure, around $110,000. And again, it's average. So depends where you apply and how good you are at negotiation skills. You can get more. Now, moving on to the meat of this webinar, business agility. So What I wanted to point here, I think you heard it's a very famous phrase, it's no longer the big eats the small or the fast eats the slow. It's the adaptability wins over rigidity. And this slide I created with my teacher and designer, Kasia Shilina. So this is her contacts and Instagram profile. I see you're messaging me on the chat. And for Be Agile, so the courses I teach, I try to make it as much engaging as I can. And so I try to bring boring business stuff in easy illustrations. So if you're interested about Be Agile trainings, I guarantee you will have many similar engaging slides like this. A couple of testimonials about my work experience, so I think we can skip it. So moving on to what Agile means. I see on chat that not many are familiar with what Agile is. And basically, Agile was created for software industry in 1999, and in 2001 it was created an Agile manifesto. But what it means in generally, so it means the switching mindset from a conservative waterfall mindset. We are switching to agility, adaptability, and instead of saying I can't, say how can I? How can we apply Agile to the real world? So there are Agile principles we use for teams working in Agile environment, but I prefer adapt Agile to my personal life as well. So again, we illustrated this Agile merry-go-round, how we adapting the main Agile principles to our lifestyle, and you can see we can apply everything from Agile. So it's not just for software, it's not as scary as it sounds. So for example, the first one, if it's hard, do it more often. If it's scary, do it more often again. Learn something new every day. Use what you learned. Learn from your failure. Get comfortable with honesty and transparency. Be willing to experiment, but keep in mind risks. Focus on value, not on tasks in your checklist. The working product doesn't mean a perfect product. And we are fun and awesome. And I like the 10 ones because yes, we are fun, we are awesome. Sometimes my team likes to joke and says we are sexy, and yeah, we are, whatever. We are fun, we're awesome, we're sexy. We need to enjoy our work. We want to enjoy our work, and we do whatever it takes, and we have fun. How can we enjoy our work? Just having fun and being awesome with each other in general. So in Agile, we like using a Shihari model of skill mastery, which means first we are not experienced much, so we just obeying the rules. We are following more experienced people and methodologies and best practices. So if you decide to pivot to this role, definitely you're going to be in a shoe stage. So you will need a coach or a mentor, or if you have an Agile coach and organization, you need to reach out to these people to ask for the best practices and obey their rules. And we provide mentorship and Be Agile tutoring, obviously, because I've been in these shoes. I know how hard it is to obey the rules when you're new and you even like don't know the rules. So you need someone to provide you with rules first. Then when you get some maturity, you are consciously moving away from the rules and trying to experiment. And I try to make this fun illustration. So first you see quite a conservative hairstyle and beard. Then you're moving away from rules and try to experiment on the hot stage. And then on the re stage, you unconsciously finding an individual path. So you already know like the rules, you created your own rules and you have the gut feelings, and you can mix up the best practices with your own rules, and you know that each situation is different. So you can't just follow the rules, you need to improvise. But before you get to the improvisation stage, you need to follow rules and you need to learn the rules. The next slide I wanted to share with you is Agile and Product Manifesto. And there is no much term as a product manifesto, but in Agile and talking with other product owners, we believe that it's time to create it. No, again, don't take it as a like Bible of Agile product manifesto. It's just how we do things in Agile. So in Agile, we are solving problems, we are outcome orientated, we validate hypotheses, and we emphasize it with the end user. And I think many of you know the story of iPhone and BlackBerry. And iPhone disrupted the industry, and BlackBerry unfortunately lost the market and then the business just because they didn't emphasize with the end users, unlike iPhone, which iPhone people, they quickly understood that people need to have internet on their phone, that phone already stopped being just a phone and just being a tool for call or text. iPhone became like a mini computer in your hand and you need the internet inside. Unlike BlackBerry, who were very conservative and they believed that having the browser and having the internet inside the phone will drag your battery down. So it's kind of like a fade, and iPhone fade will disappear as quickly as it started. But you see the history showed that they were wrong. And for the product manifesto, we were thinking about implementing solutions, defining features, following opinions, and presuming the customer needs. Now let's talk a little bit about the roles, and that's why we are here, how to get Scrum Master role without knowing how to code. And these are three main roles in Agile from the leadership perspective. So the first one is the Scrum Master, and you can see kind of like fun guy in a t-shirt, breaking the rules and trying to be like a Scrum buddy, entertaining the team, making sure that the team is happy, that the environment is healthy, the team is chilled, and everybody's happy at work. The second guy you see here, the tie, the deadlines burning up. So this guy is a project manager. Again, in more conservative IT companies running with waterfall, there are many project managers position, or even in the companies with a hybrid model, so there are Scrum Masters and project managers. And the third guy is a product owner. So you see the numbers in his glasses. So these people, they are more product oriented, backlog oriented. So they are providing the North Star for the team. They provide their direction and they analyze the product, they communicate with external stakeholders and making sure that the product is still in need and satisfy customer expectations. Scrum Master is another leader who takes care of the team, making sure that the team doesn't have any impediments and they can move as quick as possible, whatever direction product owner shows them. And the project manager is a guy who, or a woman. So I keep telling and keep saying guy just because I have guys pictured on my slide, just because it's easier for me to paint guys than ladies. But again, it could be a guy, it could be a lady, it could be like whoever can take this position. So the project manager is a person, probably it's better to say person, who takes care about deadlines, managing expectations from stakeholders, logistics, and making sure that the project is delivered on time, on budget, and on scope. So the other slide, let's look at Scrum Master skills. And again, coming back to the conversation, when many think that being a leader in IT, you need to know how to code. Yes, it's nice to have having a knowledge how to code, but if you don't have, like myself, you still can build career in IT. So you see a couple of main skills you have for the Scrum Master. So the first one, remove impediments, as I already told. For example, the team has a bug and the team has dependency on another team, or there are like a bunch of processes in the team stuck in bureaucracy and collaboration to resolve their problem. So the Scrum Master is the first guy to come and to say, hey, I have this dependency, or I have this bug, and my ticket doesn't move for like 2-3 days. So this is an impediment for me. I can't deliver my work, so please remove it. And Scrum Master needs to do whatever it takes to remove this impediment. So when I was a Scrum Master, what I did during my first day at my first week or month at work, I tried to connect to as many people, as many stakeholders as I could, to have, like personal touch and personal connection. So when my developers came to me with impediments, I already knew who can help them and who can resolve these impediments. And many new Scrum Masters, they make a mistake sending email just like to the department. For example, dear security department, we have this problem, please help us to solve. So when you talk to the department, you talk to no one. You need to know the specific person you are addressing and to build connection with this person if you want to remove impediments as soon as possible. The next skill, the second one, is facilitator. I think we are clear here. The third one is team support. The fourth one is agile coaching. The fifth one, communication. As I told, communication is the key for this role. The sixth one, shield the team from the external influence. And stakeholders, they like talking to developers themselves, especially if they have a quick question or a quick improvement. And I can tell you the personal story. So we had one manual already developed, and one of the stakeholders came to one of the developers and asked to change the color for like a couple of buttons from green to blue, because they decided that blue is going to be better. And developers thought, oh, okay, so it takes me just like 10 minutes to fix this requirement. It's easy, so I will just do it. And the developer didn't tell me about this requirement for the stakeholder, because it was just like 10 minutes work for them. But developer didn't know that we already started printing in color these manuals. So when they changed the color, appeared that we wasted a couple of $1,000 for printing. And what's more important for me, I'm quite an environmentalist. We wasted trees to print these manuals because we needed to reprint them, and just because we didn't know about this requirement. So the role of the Scrum Master is to shield the team. So if any stakeholders have any requirements or any questions or concern, they need to come to the Scrum Master and talk to the Scrum Master first, and then Scrum Master delivers a message to the team if the Scrum Master decides it's appropriate, or talk to the product owner, and then they decide what to do with this external stakeholder intervention. No, tool maintenance. There are some tools, and especially digital tools nowadays when we move working from home, like Jira, Confluence. So as Scrum Master, you need to learn these tools, but trust me, it's much easier than learning how to code. And reporting, yes, even though in Agile, we have working software over comprehensive documentation. Still, we need to update our managers, our stakeholders. So Scrum Master is the person who takes care of the reporting. And if you're still scared about pivoting your career, the Scrum Master, there are top 9 transferable skills if you had a previous work experience. So the top 3 are teaching, mentoring, and coaching. So if you have any experience in this, so you already covered some basic soft skills for the Scrum Master role. The other is time management, agile listening, facilitating, business mastery, negotiation, and rethinking. So if you have the skills, place them in your resume, and you can consider a Scrum Master role. Again, depends how many skills you have. When I became a Scrum Master, I didn't have much of business mastery, but I had time management skill from my project management career. I had negotiation skill from my experience in the Maldives when I worked at the reception. I was a good facilitator and teacher, since I was teaching some courses and I was an English instructor. So I got, I think, like 7 out of 9 skills. So I just needed to cover just a few skills. So I wanted to show you this slide. What are your first steps as a Scrum Master during your first week? So you need to concentrate on team, organization, and project. And if you seriously consider this role, I provide trainings, 6 weeks training for the Scrum Master role, where we learning these skills and these steps in a deeper level, and I provide the checklists for all action items you're having here. And just briefly, let's see, for example, for the team, you need to have one-on-one interviews, you need to participate in a workshop with the team, and you need to have like one-on-one with the product owner. But if you're new, you might think, what the hell, Ina? Yes, I have one-on-one interview with the team or with the product owner. What I supposed to ask them? But this is just a short introductory webinar. I can't provide all of the information here. So again, it's a high-level checklist on the slide, but feel free to connect with me and book 15 minutes with me after this webinar if you want to know the deeper details about it, or like the checklist about the product state. So what is the team producing? Who is the customer? How is the team implementing the plan? Are our team members working on one product or several products? What is end-to-end process, and how is the team improving their way of work? And for the sake of time, let's move on to the next slide. I see you have questions. I promise I will answer them later after we finish with slides. So a new Scrum Master in Jira. As I showed you this slide, you need to know how to maintain the tools. And Jira is one of the tools you need to know how to maintain. And again, in my deeper Scrum Master training, we have a day where I talk about Jira, Confluence, and what Scrum Master needs to do in Jira. But here it's just an introductory checklist, what you need to do in Jira. So for example, you can check out how long is a sprint, what is the team velocity, do sprints have a goal, and don't freak out if you don't know the word sprint or velocity. These are basic Agile terms we are learning at the course, or if you want me to explain them, I can do it during the Q&A. So here it's just a checklist, what you can gain from Jira without having one-on-one with your teammates or with your product owner. Or for example, what are the epics of the product? And again, if you don't know the word epics, it's fine. It's just a piece of work team is working on. Backlog. Backlog is a storage of work the team is working on. Again, do sprint have a goal? So sprint is a time box period of time. Most likely it could be 1 week to 4 weeks, and my favorite length is 2 weeks, where the team delivers a chunk of work from the development to testing, so the customers can play around and provide the feedback. Now let's moving on to 10 values to help you stand out from the crowd. And yeah, during the job interviews, people are hired based on their hard skills and soft skills, but unfortunately, people get fired as well, just for some like common sense, but unfortunately, you can't imagine how many people don't follow these values. If you follow them, you will definitely stand out from the crowd. So being on time, being energetic, doing a little extra, be authentic and empathetic, having solid work ethics, being coachable, responsibility for the result, positive attitude, being prepared, have a problem-solving mindset. Yes, again, sounds easy, sounds basic, but you can't imagine how many people neglect these values. And as a business owner myself, I had to let go of so many people, or even not hire so many people, not because of their hard skills or like lack of communication, but just because they violated some of these values. So that's why I am stopping here on this slide. And let's move on to the career path for leadership position. So as I told you, we have three main roles in Agile: product manager, project manager, and Scrum Master. So for the product manager and project manager, it's quite a similar path. You can go to product director or project management director or portfolio management director. Then you can be AVP, associate vice president, or VP, and you have a great chance to become a CEO of the company, because project manager or product manager have the skills the CEO needs to possess: leadership skills, planning skills, vision, knowledge about the product. So this is a career for product manager and project manager. For the Scrum Master, it's a bit different one. So in Agile, we as coaches, we don't really much into a career. We are more into coaching, and that's why Scrum Master is growing into Agile coach eventually, like myself. And from the Agile coach, you just have your business consultancy or a training company, which I have, which calls Be Agile Tutoring, the full name of this. Well, I already talked about the certifications, but again, just make sure that you didn't forget. So project management professional, it's mandatory if you are pursuing a project manager role, and professional Scrum Master is mandatory if you want to be a Scrum Master. So PMP is nice to have, again, if you want to become a Scrum Master, or CAPM if you are not experienced for PMP, if you still need to gain some requirements, but at least get CAPM. Many organizations, they are transforming from old waterfall model to Agile. So many leaders, many organizational leaders, they prefer you to understand and experience both worlds, project management, waterfall, and Scrum Master. So I would recommend you to have these two certifications, and the others, like I showed you before, PMICP, Kanban, Discipline, Agile, and everything else are optional. So moving on to the implementation, and implementing knowledge is rare and highly appreciated skill set that sets apart the most successful leaders. And I kept giving you the knowledge, like the theoretical knowledge right now, and having all theoretical knowledge in the world, you come to the organization and it's hard to implement because you don't have practice. And that's why I created the Agile tutoring. When I saw so many Scrum Masters, so many people who pivot their career, and myself included, I had the theoretical knowledge, but I didn't know how to implement it. So how I differentiate myself and my company from the other companies. The others, they help you with the certifications, which is very important to get a job. Never neglect certificates, and that's why I spent my time talking about that. But certificates, it's just halfway to success. Yes, you can get hired, but you also need to remain your place. You need to prove that you're a professional. But in order to do that, you need to know how to implement. So in my course, in Be Agile Tutoring, I teach new leaders or young leaders how to implement the knowledge. So I provide knowledge, and you see I try to do it as much engaging as I can, creating these funny slides, and also help with the implementation, providing real case scenarios, and also workshops and collaboration within the group and collaboration with myself, also providing homework and assignment and mentorship after the courses to make sure that you are equipped with the right tools as well as the knowledge. I am having a 6 weeks Scrum Master one-on-one course in March. So if you are interested, feel free to book it, or feel free to have a one-on-one call, 15 minutes call with me. So we can talk about the details. And let me show the book. I wrote a book, releasing it for 8th of March. It calls it Start With You. And you know, I had experience as a mentor, and mentoring different people, like different age, different nationalities. I found out that many keep repeating mistakes I've done when I was younger. So I kept like mentoring, and then I noticed that I repeating the same thing again and again. And I first thought I wanted to write posts on LinkedIn to educate people, but I didn't want to be like, hey guys, do this, don't do that. I didn't want to have like this hierarchical position. So eventually I got an idea to write a book to the younger version of myself, to 20 years old me, just writing letters and providing knowledge and experience I gained through the very painful way, and just to support and being compassionate to that young girl, and not being judgy. I started writing. So I thought it's going to be just like a couple of articles, but then I kept writing the letters, and you can see it's about like 40 letters right now. So I ended up with my first book. And for those who are here on this webinar, if you are signing up to one of my boot camps, you can get this book for free. For those who are watching this webinar later, you still can get this book, but you can order it on the Amazon when I release it. On the next slide, I wanted to talk about I have 2 4-hour boot camps in the nearest future. The first one is Leadership Through Facilitation. So you already saw this slide, and you saw the facilitation is one of top 9 transferable skills, and also one of top skills for the Scrum Master. And it also fits whether you are a product owner or a project manager or a Scrum Master. We all need to facilitate, especially having online meetings. It's even harder to facilitate that on site. So as leaders, we need to be good at this, and that's why I got so many questions regarding how to be better at facilitation, how to make people to make the decision at the end, and not just like keeping blah blah meetings. And I know in some organizations people joke, so what is your role in this organization? And some people say meetings attendee, because there are so many meetings, and there are like so many back-to-back meetings. So during the whole day you just like keep going from one meeting to another. But are they valuable? Do we gain knowledge, or are we having value out of these meetings? And this is a job for like the Scrum Master or project manager or product owner to make sure that we are maximizing value, gathering people together for this meeting. And that's why I created this course. So here, people who are still here with me, if you message me tech, this course is limited to 10 people. So if you message tech to me on LinkedIn or info@beagile.org, you can be first 10 people, and you can get this book for free. If I have the high demand for this course, for those who are watching this webinar later who weren't able to attend it, and still message me or tag or just message me that you are interested in leadership through facilitation bootcamp on LinkedIn or info@agile.org, and I will create the next bootcamp in the nearest future. Now, what you gain from this bootcamp? So again, the cost is $67 for 4 hours. It's a very beautiful price. So your learning outcomes, you will learn how to hold conversations that focus teams and stakeholders on results. You will build consensus and commitment to implement with any group. You will lead meetings and events using best practices and fun and interactive tools. You help teams articulate challenges and respond with creativity. And you also feel confident in this role, even if you are newbie at facilitation, if you're a newbie at facilitation online. And I will also support you with checklists, with playbook, with engaging slides, and we will do mirror exercises, we will do breakout rooms, and we will learn by practicing. Another bootcamp is about finding confidence in conflict. Again, conflict resolution is one of the key skills for Scrum Master, project managers, or product owners, because we work with people, we work with teams, we work with stakeholders, and unfortunately, sometimes we get to heated debates or even conflicts. So we need to know like the stages of conflict. Sometimes conflicts are good because we can sparkle the truth or sparkle the brilliant idea by having like a bit of debates. But what if the conflict is out of control? What should we do? How do we behave? How we can still bring peace to the team? And many people avoid conflicts, myself included, especially if you are shy and introverted. The other people who are extroverted and maybe a bit assertive, and they feel confident in conflict, but it's hard for them to mitigate it and to notice that pivoting moment when people start being aggressive to each other rather than searching for the creative idea. So this is the next webinar, the next bootcamp, again, with the cost of $67 in March 12th. So again, message me tag on LinkedIn or info@agile.org. Message tag one, so I will separate what webinar you are interested in. And for those who are watching this webinar later, again, if you think that you are not in this first 10, don't be discouraged. If you keep messaging me, I might create the second one in the nearest future. I just need to see how demanded it is. And I try to limit them. So that's why I limited just to 10 people to make sure that everybody is engaged, everybody has a chance to collaborate with each other and myself and learn from practical experience. Now, what you learned, you will learn how to identify the difference between lively negotiation and heated conflict. You will learn the characteristics of a successful negotiator, conflict manager, and how to stay calm. You will learn when you feel that the conversation turned in the wrong direction. Also, negotiation techniques such as BATNA and the outcomes. You will learn about 5 levels of conflict resolutions and tips and tricks to gaining confidence in negotiation and conflict resolution. And again, we will use mirror board for practice. We will practice with each other on the real cases from my personal experience, and you have a chance to collaborate and practice with me personally, and definitely Q&A and support up to this bootcamp. And the last offer I have for you is a Scrum Master one-on-one course. So it consists 6 weeks, 4 hours each week, plus homework, and again, up to 10 people. message me, text Scrum if you are interested on LinkedIn. Sorry, I have mistypo here, or info@beagile.org. So as I told, if you're interested about Scrum Master role, you can gain knowledge, whatever, but it's hard for you to implement. And you need a coach or a mentor to show you the shortcuts and make sure that if you struggle, you are not struggle so much, and you have someone to take you back and to help you with the solution and the feedback, and also provide you the checklist. Because when I started as a Scrum Master, I needed to figure out almost everything by myself. And I tried to find a checklist, but I had like a bunch of theoretical knowledge. But for example, you need to engage stakeholders. But if you're new to this role, what it means to engage the stakeholders, or you need to set up one-on-one with a product owner, and what I need to talk about with my product owner, or you need to help the product owner to facilitate the backlog refinement. Okay, I am in, but how exactly I can help my product owner? So all of these questions I figured out the hard way, and that's why I created this course, this 6 weeks course. And many people asked, isn't it too much, 6 weeks, 4 hours each week? And yes, it's too much for me to teach, but I tried to make it shorter. But it didn't work just because we had so many situations and so many things to discuss. So, okay, I moved higher, and I mean like higher from the time management, time perspective. So I decided to make it 4 hours each week during the weekend for 6 weeks, and just for $499 price. I think it's a great deal, and the outcomes you will have is what are your true responsibilities as Scrum Master, what actions you need to take during the first week, and how to interact with a new team. Sorry for mistypo again. How to drive a team to self-performance, how to plan adaptively, how to lead your team to improve continuously, and necessary tech jargon and processes. And if you're not tech, it's hard because everybody speaks like different language to you. For example, like JSON, it took me 3 weeks to figure out that JSON is not our team member, and we have one JSON as a developer. That's why when people said JSON, I thought it's one of the developers, but half of the time it didn't make sense to me. So I appeared that JSON is one of the development tools, and like the word environment. So for me, English is a second language. Environment, it's something like about nature, acid rains, or like whatever, but not the environment, what programming means by saying that. And you might feel like anxious and scared that you don't understand like basic things what people are talking about. And that's why I had like a separate checklist with tech jargon for you to make sure that this jargon you need to know as a Scrum Master, and all other things, if you hear and you don't know, don't feel bad. Nobody knows other than developers. And sometimes you talk to the developer from the other team and they told, oh, it's such specific to the job your team is doing. I also don't know that. So I don't want you guys to feel frustrated like I felt without knowing all of the different words and like different worlds in general. So I tried to prepare the transition for you as smooth and as possible in this Scrum Master one-on-one course. And I see I already coming out of time, so just want to show a couple of testimonials again about my work and about the teaching skills and teaching experience I had with my students. And thank you very much for staying with me for such a long time. And now it's time for a Q&A. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to find me or message me on LinkedIn. If you're already there, in our lives, it's my name, or info@beagile.org. This is my email. Feel free to raise any questions there or book one-on-one meeting with me using the link I'm sharing. and my Instagram, Aina Alive. Find me there if you don't have LinkedIn or want to engage with me on Instagram. So thank you very much, and hope to see you soon at my bootcamps.